So Canada and Scotland's utopia of perfectness and communist gun laws are starting to rear their ugly head, and you're starting to see what's actually happening when you apply that sort of mindset on people. But before we get into that, I want to remind you to shop at OnlyTechFans at Shopify.com. These ammo cases are pretty much done. I'm past prototyping. I am into the production phase. Unfortunately, the material I'm trying to use, because this material is resistant to heat and sunlight and stuff like that, is a little bit finicky to work with. So I haven't quite nailed down the settings yet, so like maybe 1 in 5 I manufacture past my quality control standards. All right, impact resistance test commencing on sample 9 and sample 15. Yeah. I'd encourage you to buy these from me, but if you'd like to manufacture your own, just go to the guy's website right here. I'm putting the files out for free. This way you can manufacture your own, because that's a big deal, and you know I'm cool with that. But I'd encourage you to buy it from me. Anyways, on with the video. So what do we got here? All right, in May 1st, 2020, Canada, they didn't have the tragedy at this time, but they had a tragedy, right? And instead of doing like what we do, where we support the families, sometimes we'll get fundraisers going, you know, we just show support, because what else can you do, right? You can't bring the people back from the dead. That would be the ideal situation, but it doesn't work that way. They do is they're like, what we're going to do is we're just going to ban guns because potato. That sounds like a great plan.
Today, we are closing the market for military-grade assault weapons in Canada. We are banning 1,500 models and variants of these firearms by way of regulations.
They started off with, I believe it was like 1,500 guns that are banned from the country. Yeah, people own these. Yeah, great. Well, now you can't. And then they expanded the list in December 2024 through March 2025 to over 2,500 firearms by name. So it isn't like features. It isn't like they do this particular thing. No, that's an AK, banned. G3, banned. PSG1, banned. Basically just like that. Now they are running a buyback program, which started January 19, 2026, and I was looking at the stats, and it is a complete failure. One place they got like 16 guns to come back, or it was like 20 guns, but 16 people brought them in. So out of that entire region, the only people that participated in the buyback was 16 people. A whole bunch of their provinces, because they don't have states like us. I know it's a little bit weird. We got states, which is America, and the way things should be. Well, they have provinces. A lot of provinces, the police officers and everything are like, no, we are going to refuse to enforce this, because why else would you want guns? They don't stop criminals. Everybody knows this. Like, the only people that apply or comply to gun laws are people that follow the law. So if you don't follow the law, the gun law is pretty freaking irrelevant.
The Alberta government is now attempting to override the federal program using the new Alberta Sovereignty Within a United Canada Act.
Previously legal firearms into prohibited ones does nothing to make our streets safer.
That's pretty wild. They got like, I think it's one province that is going along with this, and the turnout for the gun buyback has been a complete flop. The amnesty deadline, so from what I understand right now, should you get caught with these dangerous weapons, weapons of war, and I've seen the news stories, it was ridiculous. They're like, these dangerous weapons and weapons of war are destroying Canadian lives. Well, yeah, the amnesty ends October 2026, which is coming up pretty quick. So we're going to finally get to see how this all goes down. They basically had a 6-year grace period, like, hey, these are illegal, destroy them, turn them in to be destroyed, or we'll even buy them back from you, which I'm assuming was probably some, like, McDonald's gift card for $100 for this $1,500 weapon. So I can see why people don't want to do that. Actually, before I got indicted, I actually had a couple of Canucks, or Canadian, sorry. I don't know where the word Canuck came from, so I don't even know what kind of a slur it is, but that's what I've used since I was a kid, so you know what, I'm just going to continue to use it. So I had a couple of these Canucks reach out to me before I actually got indicted, like, hey, can I send you my firearms because I don't want them to get destroyed. That didn't happen because I got indicted. So, moving along though, You'd think that if this plan actually worked, that more people would be a part of the whole gun buyback thing because the deadline's coming up quick. And the crazy thing is, so far with this gun ban in play, what I could find on the internet, they've seen no reduction in crime. They've actually had another tragedy since then. What's going on here? We know it doesn't work, so why are you trying to take their guns? Why? What does that honestly accomplish? They've already been heavily regulated. I had a cellie that was a Canuck, and he was telling me that even long knives and stuff have serial numbers on it and are regulated. So the regulation's already there, and we all know that record keeping is just for confiscation, and that's probably what we're going to see. We'll have to see how it plays out. The next past October 2026 is going to be pretty interesting. A lot of different things can go down in a lot of different ways. Maybe the government's just like, you know what, we'll time them out. Kind of like what they did with our NFA. We'll put the law in place and then we'll just wait a couple of generations. The gun generation people will die off, and because they can't teach your kids how to use these guns, because they're illegal and they got to keep them buried in their attics or wherever, well, the next generation won't know how to use them and they won't care about them. And then they'll just destroy them. And 2, maybe 3 generations down the line, well, now Canada is completely disarmed. Now, the next place we're seeing some crazy stuff going in is in Scotland. Those Scottish bastards. Anyways, their Scottish police force is actually asking for guns now. A little bit of backstory. In 1968, some tragedy happened. Again, the commies always push their agenda right after a tragedy because it's hard to argue with it. We have the Constitution. So we're like, you know what? Second Amendment says right here, shall not be infringed. This is designed for the government, not for me. This isn't giving me permission. This is putting restrictions on the government. This codifies a right that already existed. So that's a little bit hard to argue with because we have that into our infrastructure, right? They don't. So 1968 tragedy happens. It's like, we need to do this to stop the tragedy. It's hard to be like, well, you know what? I don't care about the dead people. I want my hobby, my freedom, all that stuff. That's hard to argue. We have the Second Amendment, so it's easier. But they didn't, so they had some pretty restrictive gun laws. No handguns. We're not even going to do that. You can get some rifles and shotguns, but you have to have good reason. You have to basically produce like, hey, I live on this farm. I have a safe place to hunt deer. I'd like to hunt deer. Please, government, please give me permission to be able to own this particular firearm. You also got to get a bunch of licenses. Good reasons are not self-defense. There's absolutely no CCW, and they do have a bunch of wild-ass knife laws too. So basically, interaction with the police, because the police are under these same rules, which, I mean, it's kind of cool. I feel that if it's good for one, it's good for all. So if a person can't have a firearm, I don't believe the police should be able to have one either. Now, I'm assuming this is what a police interaction looks like. Good evening, sir. Terribly sorry to interrupt you, but I couldn't help but to notice that what you got there in your hand appears to be quite illegal. And I'm going to have to ask you to stop what you are doing immediately if you would. Illegal? What I got right here? I mean, I guess this could be a dangerous weapon. But I don't really see what your concern is, and I don't think I'm going to stop. I understand you may not feel inclined to comply. However, I must insist, officially, that you cease and desist at once, as you are in violation of several rather serious statutes, and it would be best for everyone involved if you would just simply put that down. Assisting? That's adorable. I really don't respond to assisting, and unless you got something a little bit more aggressive than manners, I think I'll just carry on. I truly would prefer not to escalate the situation, as it would be unpleasant for everybody. So I ask politely, but firm, that you would reconsider your present course of action and comply immediately with the law, please. You've asked nicely. You've insisted politely, you've explained the rules, but I really just don't feel like following them. So, what else do you plan on doing? Right then, I will go ahead and document your refusal, which will involve several forms, and I would politely request that you refrain from breaking any more laws or doing any more criminal behavior for the rest of the evening, please. Because remember, they're under prison rules. That is, the strongest person on the yard makes the rules. And without a gun can make a 110-pound girl that's soaking wet be able to take on 5 completely jacked martial artists. It levels the playing field. Guns don't increase violence or generate violence or anything like that. They level the playing field. They take away unfair advantages. Everybody's on the same level. Anyways, back to what I was saying. So they had it so the police officers also didn't have guns, right? Well, now they're trying to get guns because just recently they had a dude being chased down with a chainsaw. He was like, "Ah!" And the cop's like, oh my God, he's got a chainsaw. Because what are you going to do? If nice words don't work and writing citations don't work, what other options do you have? That's it. Yeah, 99% of cases, or I shouldn't say cases, 99% of encounters with a person, just being like, hey man, don't do this, is enough to work. But when you run into that person, we're like, no, I don't think I'm going to listen. I am going to continue to do whatever it is I'm doing that you say I shouldn't be doing. Sometimes, they don't even have tasers. Like, it's strictly nice words and citations. That's as far as they're allowed to go. But now they're trying to break this. They're like, all right, so we get our people don't have guns, but we want them this way. We have a monopoly on violence. I don't believe that should happen. I believe if the police get guns, people should also have guns. If the police are allowed to have guns in their cars, the people should be allowed to have guns. I'm not a Scottish person, so I really don't have that much of a dog in a fight. I was just looking across the world to see what it would be like to not live in America, because I love America. America's pretty awesome. I love the Constitution. Constitution's pretty awesome. But what would it be like living in a place where they don't have it? And it's pretty horrific. They put their people in a position where they have no choice but to just bow down. They can't defend themselves. They have to ask for government assistance for everything. And they were saying in this article that sometimes an armed response, because they do have certain police forces that have firearms, but they're very few and they can be hundreds of miles away. So that's pretty wild. Anyways, God bless America. God bless you guys for supporting me. And if you'd also like to support me and you don't want to really shop at Only Tactical Fans at Shopify.com, just go down to those links. Click on that Amazon affiliate link. Just by clicking on it, even if you don't buy what that link is for, I still get a little kickback because you came there off my channel. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.